I don't know. Hold on. Tom's got to get a drink. If he's going to bitch about things.
What? Town, you never bitch about anything.
Yes, I do, bud. I can still hear you somehow.
Because I'm in your head.
What has ears?
I'm a kitty. I'm a
I
cat
got
housing.
two kitties. Cat housing.
Hello, this is gonna fall off right away. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the BREWDCAST. I am, as always, Budhausen. Up here, I think, because I can't see, is the Cat-Talica master, Leon Robinson. Say hi, Leon.
Hi, Leon.
And then over in this direction, over here, is the wonderful Orange Town Orange.
Or would it be Town Cassidy? Or would it be
Town Cassidy?
Orange Townity?
I don't.
That sounds
Town
terrible.
Orange.
I don't know.
Town Cassidy.
This is basically
I
off
I like
already.
Town Cassidy.
I'm glad that you did that, but that made my whole night. Thank you. Thank you.
I gotta be honest, when I agreed to it, I was already planning on not doing it well.
No, I think if you would have done it well, it wouldn't have been fun.
Yeah, that's true. You probably would have been like, why the fuck did you do that?
Well,
Oh, I makeup. Woohoo!
it's very possible.
I might put on makeup again at some point.
What are we talking about? You want to talk about the pay-per-view that we talked about that you recorded wrong?
Yeah, I fucked it up. I checked it this time. It worked this time.
Okay, that's good. Otherwise, it'll be me kind of talking to Leon because Leon says like 4 things. There will be no cats on this podcast.
Hi, Ninja.
Get out of here. Be gone.
Okay, bye.
Be gone. No, Bud, come back. Bud, come back. Okay, we lost Bud.
Way to go. You
said
discriminated and we lost Bud.
It's okay. I feel better now. Bud, you can stay. The other cat can't stay.
Okay. But don't insult my
Don't
people.
be discriminated against cats.
Cats are stupid.
There are 2 cats touching me right now.
Did you know Jade Cargill had the shortest match on the card?
At the pay-per-view?
Mm-hmm.
I'm shocked.
Did you know that tonight Jade Cargill cut a promo and I went,
Did you know the same thing happened last week too?
Yeah, this one was worse.
I just watched the Thanksgiving one, and they're like, she had an altercation with Bow Wow, and I'm like, I don't.
Oh no, they're continuing that. Apparently, she's gonna have a match with Bow Wow,
and he's gonna win.
Bow Wow will be the TBS champion,
and we will find out that actually Tony Khan is a shadow figure, and the whole company is actually run by Vince McMahon.
Are you high?
And he's decided to run women's wrestling into the ground.
One thing I would like to talk about is the promo with Moxley and Regal. What did you think of that?
Last week?
Yeah. You didn't watch this week's, I assume?
No, I haven't watched this week's.
Holy fuck, was that good? And this week played off of that. And what they did this week made me go, huh? It was completely out of left field.
So,
it was fucking amazing.
I was surprised that I was surprised that they didn't just like dissolve Blackpool. That would have been a Vince move, and I wouldn't have ever guessed that was a Vince move. That just seems natural to me. Somebody betrays your group, and your group kind of just breaks down, especially the guy who's the leader of the group. But that's not what happened. Like,
they're telling a story with that whole thing, and they're telling a really, really good story. And tonight, MJF's promo was on fire, and the crowd wanted to kill him at the end. That's what good it was.
Chicago was not happy with the Elite. This is a surprise to no one, but like...
No, the MJF promo this week you need to watch. That was very well done. That whole angle with him and Regal was very, very well done. But at the end of it, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck?" And then it all kind of makes sense. They made MJF heel, and I don't know how the fuck they managed to pull it off, but somehow they did it. So I mean, they did a really good job. That told the story, and there's a bigger story, and it involves Bryan Danielson too. I think that's going to be his next pay-per-view. Leon's gone. I think that's going to be his next pay-per-view opponent.
MJF?
Yeah, MJF Danielson. I think that's going to be his first match at the pay-per-view in February. I think that's what they're building up to.
I can see that. Yeah.
Well, but you just watch tonight.
Yeah, we'll be able to tell.
Yeah.
Soon enough.
That's what I got out of it. So.
Okay.
Last week's episode was okay. It was Thanksgiving. I drove all day and I got to where I was and I watched it. It wasn't bad. It was fun.
There wasn't much substance to it, but yeah, it was a good show.
I enjoyed the Cassidy Hager match. I thought that was really well done.
I was prepared to hate that. It was actually really well done. You're right.
It was really well done.
Everything with the stupid hat.
They're doing such a good job booking Orange Cassidy right now, and it's almost asinine that they're doing that because it's like there's no way you should be able to book this guy that way.
Right.
But they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
The 7-match thing is great and everything. The problem is when you go back. So I just watched tonight. So it is the third week in a row. Well, the second time or the third time in like 14 days or whatever that I have seen that match.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, tonight I was just kind of like, okay, these guys are good, but I've already seen, it was a different match, but how many times can you see them do a super kick spot? You know what I mean?
I kind of worried about that tonight. When they announced it at Full Gear, I was like, awesome. This sounds great.
Yep.
But when I was watching it today, I was like, how are they going to keep this interesting? They're going to do 7 matches. Like, it's unlikely they're going to.
They have to.
Not.
I think the kicker is I think they're telling a story within a story with what's going on with the Death Triangle using the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to split. I think that's the ending, the end piece of this. How they get there, I don't know. But they had another match tonight. It was prominent in it. So
okay.
Nothing too wild. Hey, I know we shouldn't talk about this, but I want to talk about it.
Let's.
Pretty sure CM Punk's gonna come back. You don't do what they did at that show.
At what show?
At
Last
the Dynamite with Chicago. You don't do what they did if there's not a long-term plan. Because there's no...
Are you referring to the GTS?
The GTS, I'm referring to the fact when Omega went like that.
Yeah.
Doing the
fighting.
Yeah, like they made a mockery of that. And my thought process is, if I'm Tony Khan, you don't let him do that unless there's a plan.
I didn't see the other stuff. I saw the GTS, and they could easily have just said, well, that's Kenta's move. Right? But
no.
They're doing
CM
more.
Punk was a
You're
huge part of that.
But they haven't even mentioned him on TV. Even when they were doing that stuff.
Not true. They have mentioned him on TV when they talked about great ROH champions. They said his name once or twice.
Okay, but that was not last week.
No.
That was a few weeks ago. I don't remember when that was. But
yeah,
you're right.
I don't think you go into that town, and I don't think you do that, and I don't think you do something that's fresh, especially if there's lawyers involved.
But this is like classic Shawn Michaels going into Canada and making a mockery of Brett. Like, that's what the Elite was pulling on. So it's possible that they're just trying to do that.
That's true to a degree. But when Michaels did that, he initially did that after it just happened.
Yeah.
And then he did it after they bought WCW, so they had all the rights to everything. So it wasn't like the guy was in another company. He wasn't wrestling anymore. That's when they did it. And they owned all the rights to that. So I think it's a little different, because here's a guy who could go to WWE in whatever amount of time. And there's been no official buyout. I think Tony Khan might be bringing him back. I think that might be the plan. I think if he comes back and has a feud with Kenny Omega and the Bucks, that's just some license to print money.
I don't think Khan wanted to get rid of him. I think either the TBS overlords, whoever the hell those people are, or CM
But
Punk wanted out.
I don't think that TBS wanted him gone because he's the highest rated guy they have. He changes the whole dynamic of that show. I think it was more along the lines of the Bucks and everybody else kind of dug in and said, if you bring that guy back, we're not working in this fucking locker room. And everybody kind of went behind the Bucks and Omega because they have been the locker room leaders there since the beginning. So I think that's the vibe, and that's kind of what they said is the locker room is not gonna let him come back. I think Khan is gonna. I don't think Khan's gonna let him go. I think they're gonna try to massage it and get him to come back because if he came back,
he's worth too much money to him.
If he came back right now and he came in as a pissed off, grizzled, fuck you, you don't know anything, my way's right, your way's wrong heel.
Give him the microphone and let him burn everything down.
Let him go. Just let him go. Within reason, because he had the microphone before when he burned it down. It didn't end good because he got into a fist fight in the locker room. And
well, I mean, you know what I mean. Not that way, but like more of the let's do business with this, not let's just burn the whole company down in actuality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
That's the vibe I
got. Let him do that thing he does so well. Blur those lines, sell fucking tickets, get eyeballs on the product.
I think he comes. I think
go scorched earth on everything for real.
I think his days of being like a legitimate championship contender are done because he's too fragile. He can't work every night. You know, he's gotta take a lighter schedule. He's old. Shit, he's like 44, isn't he? 42, 44, something like that.
Old. He's like 4 years older than us, I think.
5 years. Ancient.
4 or 5, yeah. But I mean, he's old. He's old. He's old enough to the point where, you know, these guys, you know, these wrestlers have been working for so long. Even though he had 7 years off, dude, he was beat up when he left.
Mm-hmm.
He was beat up when he left. So,
she was going nonstop for fucking 5 years at that point.
And I just think he's coming back. I think that the Young Bucks and Omega couldn't have got away with that. They would have had that signed off on. And Tony Khan's not going to sign off on that if there's not some long-term plan. Because everything Tony Khan does, there's a reason for. He's not just going to let you go out there and be a cockbag. I honestly think. So that's my opinion. I could be wrong. I could be right. But who knows? Because he's
Stokely Hathaway.
He's still part of the roster.
I just like every time we come back to this story, every single time that we come back to this story, I think I go back and forth. I'm like, how much of this is a work? Is it all a work? Some of this seems like a work, at least like 50%. And then I'm like, I always go back to that moment when he said, one of the reasons I came to AEW was because of how they treated the Brody Lee thing. And you can listen to that and say, oh, well, you know, he's a loyalist to his, you know, to other workers or whatever. But you can also look at that and say, he knows that the locker room's going to play ball. The locker room's going to keep their mouth shut. Now, it would seem that they didn't in this particular scenario, that the Elite, and that's probably why he got pissed off. But I don't know. It's just me rambling.
That's just my thought. I don't know. It just seems like if you're gonna do that way, you're gonna tantalize that crowd. There's got to be some. Tony Khan's not the guy that's gonna do something just to do it. Like he follows through on what he does, and he plants those little seeds, and we've seen him do that now in the. How long has it been? 3-4 years for AEW?
4? 3?
3 years.
4? 12. 17. I don't know.
It's like 3 or 4. 3, yeah. That's
October 2019.
Yeah.
Oh,
so it's going
3.
It's going to be it's 3 years.
Yeah.
In those 3 years, everything
3
he's
years.
done, everything that they've put on that screen, and every little weird thing that we've seen, there was a reason they did it. So he's got like this total control thing of, I want to plant this seed. I need you to do this. And I think the wrestlers, they respond to that because it's the shit we like too. Like,
well,
we would want to do that. And
the Elite has been doing that for years too in NJPW. Like before AEW, they were doing the same thing. They were planting the seeds, and putting shit on Twitter and like tantalizing. I think that's a great way to put it.
Tantalization. Hey, have any of you guys watched the new Vice show about the territories?
No.
So that
looked really interesting.
There's a Vice show about the territories. I watched the one about Memphis. And they had like
what is it done like by the Dark Side of the Ring guys?
Yeah, but it's more like they pull a bunch of legends that were there and they have them sit down around a round table and tell goofy stories.
Ooh.
I watched the one about Memphis. It was fucking great. And there's more. I'm trying to watch.
Oh Jesus!
Very good.
I can only imagine.
Very good watch. Very, very good watch. I would recommend that. We should probably watch those and talk about those at some point. They're pretty good.
I'm gonna write it down right now in purple.
Yeah. I can't remember what it's called. I'd have to fire it while I'm on YouTube.
Dark Side of the Territories.
I don't believe that's it. But go Leon.
I mean, it would work with the theme.
Tales from the Territories.
Ha! So far away.
From the Territories.
It's on Vice. Is it on Hulu then?
Couldn't tell you. I just watched it on YouTube.
All right, I'm gonna have to find it. Sounds interesting.
You know, it was a good little watch. I mean, it was fun to kind of touch upon that. WCCW, Portland, Polynesian Wrestling Dynasty, Stampede, CWF, AWA, Andy Kaufman versus the King of Memphis, and Memphis. That's what I watched the Memphis one. That was pretty good.
That's the only one that I know anything about.
Andy Kaufman and the wrestling.
When I was a little kid,
yeah.
Leon, shut up. When I was a little kid, just bantering on about shit. WCCW, they put an I in front of it because they went out of business and they were trying to come back, so they had IWCCW, and it was on ESPN on like Friday night at like 9 o'clock, and it was on for like 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I would watch that every Friday, and it was shitty. But they had like Rick Rude showed up there a few times in Honky Tonk Man. Like Rick Rude showed up as a babyface and was feuding with the Honky Tonk Man. It was really, really bizarre stuff.
Yeah, that's strange.
About who had a better neck breaker, the Shake, Rattle, and the Roll, or the Rude Awakening. But no, that was an interesting territory though, because you had the Von Erichs and you had the Freebirds, and that was like that's some good shit. Portland had Piper. The Polynesian wrestling obviously is
Piper and Art Bauer.
You know, Stampede would be the Hearts.
Dynamite.
CWF would be like Dusty Rhodes and those guys. Eddie Graham. So these are good. I mean, it's an interesting look. I think it's stuff that, you think wrestling in the 80s and it's just like all WrestleMania, WWF, and then WCW trying to do their own shit. But I think this is a good look at that stuff. The 70s and the 80s. Just wanted to bring that up.
Okay.
That's good information, Town. Thank you.
It's a good show. It's a show that I think we all would appreciate.
It's on my paper.
Okay.
You can't read it because it's in light purple, but it's there.
Dig it.
What's on your list to talk about today, bud?
We talked about talking about the full gear.
Holy shit!
So I wrote you
got like segments and shit.
No. This is just the card. I didn't do this. Wikipedia did.
Okay.
You want to run down the card quick? I mean, we talked about it the other day, but go ahead and run down the card.
So the first pre-show match was Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, Rocky Romero, and Danhausen versus the Factory. Which I love that they're doing stuff with the Factory.
Where do I see those pre-show matches? Because I've never seen those.
These are on YouTube. Usually.
Okay.
I think all of them are on YouTube.
My bad. I appreciate that, Budrick.
This match taught me two things. It taught me one, the biggest star in that match by far was Orange Cassidy, because he stood on the apron and did nothing, and then when he got tagged in, the place went fucking crazy. He's a star. And then second, yes,
I would. Okay. Danhausen was close when he showed up, and he was
all
fucking crazy.
You weren't letting me finish my comments.
Okay. Sorry.
Danhausen wasn't there. And then when Danhausen his music hit, and it was a different music, and he had the fucking jar of teeth, that place lost their shit.
Fucking Spike.
He's got new music?
Yeah. It was like evil Danhausen. He came out with blood all over his face, and he had the teeth and shit. It was fucking amazing. It was really well done.
And he was actually like effective.
Doing like leading up to it on Twitter and shit, like rending the flesh from your bones or whatever.
Yeah, I saw some of that.
Be a little more serious?
You got to watch it because it was really good. It was they came out and they made him actually credible, which I've been dying for them to do because I think he's such a personality. He's not a guy who could ever win the world championship.
Yeah, he's just kind of been getting ran over whenever anything actually got physical.
He's a guy that doesn't need the world championship. He's a guy that needs a feud. He just needs to be on TV. He's a guy who can put on TV like for 5 minutes and have him cut a promo and have him do shit, and he could be a huge star. But I don't ever see him as like a world champion. I mean, you could maybe do it, but Bud's looking at it right now.
Yeah, I think if you played more with this evil persona and maybe bumped up the, I think there's a way you could do it, like you said. That's really it.
I don't think he needs it though. I think he needs to just get the TV time and be out there and him and fucking Orange Cassidy are. I watched Being the Elite, and they were on there, and they had the jar of teeth. And him and Orange Cassidy had like a 2-minute back and forth banter about the jar of teeth. Do you like the jar of teeth, Orange? No. Get it away. It's fine. It's just a jar of teeth. No. Get it away. It was just fucking funny. Danhausen's just like, would you like me to remove it? Yeah. And then he takes it out of there and like shakes the teeth and walks away. And Orange Cassidy goes, wow. What a great bit for Being the Elite. And he just walks away. Perfect. Those two have insane chemistry together.
They do. Yeah. I'm glad they kept them together because I like without Orange, I think that he was kind of floundering.
Yeah.
He had Hook, but like
they completely abandoned that.
That shit was fun.
Yeah.
They completely abandoned that. But I get what they're trying to do with Hook, and they don't want to put Hook with anybody because they want him to do his own thing.
He's a loner. He's a loner, Dottie, a rebel.
What was the next match, Bud?
Ricky Starks defeated Brian Cage.
Loved it.
Which was this match was amazing.
Loved it. It was so well done, and they worked so fucking hard. I like Brian Cage. He's that dude is on the gas. Like way beyond belief. Like I look at him, I'm like, how will you ever pass a piss test? It has to be radioactive with all the shit you're taking because he's so freaking abnormally large. Like you don't get that big without taking some really good
vitamins.
Shit.
Vitamins.
Yeah, let's call them vitamins.
and saying his prayers.
And that's I think that's part of the reason that WWE won't touch him. Like, how the fuck is that guy going to pass the wellness test?
Yeah,
there's no fucking way.
Not with that much juice running through his veins.
But he's a talented guy and he's athletic. You know, and you watch him, and he went there with Starks.
Every time I see him do something like agile, it shocks the hell out of me. No matter how many times I've seen it, because he doesn't look like he'd be able to move it at all.
No. But this match was good, and they're going, dude. They're going with Ricky Starks because he also won he beat what's his face?
Ethan.
Yeah, he beat Ethan Page, and he's fighting MJF. So
what does Danhausen call him?
Winner is coming, right?
Egon.
Egon.
Yeah, I'm super stoked to see Ricky Starks fight MJF. I know he's not going to win, but like, I think it's going to be an amazing match. Ricky Starks has upped his game a lot, and MJF is fun to watch. Like, he's got a lot of skill, he's got a lot of talent in the ring, but they don't showcase it. And I think
that's part of his gimmick.
I think that's a good thing, honestly.
You need to watch tonight, because tonight he laid out a ton of shit, and he just it was amazing. Like, tonight we'll go up. You'll just get it. So what was the next match?
Okay, Eddie Kingston defeated Jun Akiyama.
Fun.
Oh my god, I love this match so much.
Eddie must have been hard as a rock for that whole match.
He was. he finished the match, and like, there's no title on the line. There's no future, there's no stakes here other than he wanted to fight Jun Akiyama, and he wins, and he just cries. Like, the amount of emotion that was in this match, and then at the end, you have to find this, Leon. I think you'll love it.
He cut a great promo. It was such a fucking amazing match because it wasn't even on the pay-per-view. And Bud just sends me a text message that says, I don't even know if I need the pay-per-view. They can't compete with this.
And then I said,
that whole pre-show is on YouTube though.
Yeah. And then I said, after that pre-show, they better put on some WrestleMania level shit, which they did. Most of these matches are WrestleMania level.
Yep.
Like, this is easily, in my eyes, their best pay-per-view this year.
Oh yeah, hands down. I still think that goes with losing the Elite and losing Punk and losing those guys. They had to restructure and kind of focus on some guys that they should have been focusing on all along.
Yeah.
First match, Bud.
So the next one, first match of the pay-per-view, Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Luchasaurus.
As much as I say that Orange Cassidy's a star, Jungle Boy is even more of a star.
Which is just like,
he's the guy. And I told you after that pay-per-view, what did I tell you? I said the guy to beat MJF is fucking Jungle Boy.
It really should be. Yeah.
And you just build him up and have him beat MJF. Make MJF a complete turd. Have him fucking fuck everybody over, and then you have Jungle Boy beat him.
Look at three of our favorite guys here: Orange Cassidy, Jungle Boy, MJF. These guys they don't seem like 2022 wrestlers. Like, they would fit better in 1990s, but they're still freaking killing it. I mean, to some extent, Orange Cassidy is unique unto himself. Like, he wouldn't fit it. He would and wouldn't fit in any era. But like, it just surprises me. Like, would we have been saying 10 years ago that, in WWE, the guy to beat Triple H for the title is Jungle Boy, Jack Perry? No, we wouldn't be saying that, because WWE wouldn't do that. And also, it's just like, it's very out of the blue.
He's too small, pal.
Yeah.
Why would we push him when we have the Warlord? I feel like Leon likes the Warlord. Do you like the Warlord? Do you like go back and watch his matches and like get a little bit of a chub? Okay, just checking.
I've heard good things about him, or a couple interesting stories about him, like on some podcasts, but as a wrestler, no.
Next match, bud.
Next match, sure.
Big meaty men slapping meat.
No, that's not until later. Death Triangle versus the Elite. Death Triangle won with the hammer to the forehead.
Like I just said, though, like I'm worried that I'm going to see this match too many times. So they really got to go. Tonight was different than the previous one, but there's some of those spots they keep doing. They have to not do those same spots because it's just like you're throwing that in our face.
Or like maybe give them a different match type.
The pop they got when they came out was huge. The intro with the song was huge. Like, that was fucking amazing. They did a really good job with that. And then I was talking to you during it. I was like, you think they're going to get booed? They didn't, but then they went to Chicago and got booed.
And they got booed. Yeah, of course.
They would have hung them in the streets.
What were they chanting? They were chanting fuck something. I don't remember what it was.
The Elite.
Fuck the Elite? That's right. Yeah. I don't think they ever chanted CM Punk, though.
They did.
Could be wrong. They did.
But then they had a dueling CM Punk. Fuck CM Punk. CM Punk. Fuck CM Punk. So.
Love it. I missed that.
Yeah.
So then we have the match of the night. The absolute best. Jade Cargill.
You didn't even watch this, bud.
Defeated Nyla Rose. I didn't skip it on purpose.
Did you see Jade's tweet about the match?
No. What did she have to
say
about it?
No more, something to the effect of no more wrestling in leotards. Because it took a while, but I thought she had like some sort of tights on her legs with that print and everything on it, but that was just body paint.
Oh.
Yeah. So there were plenty of shots where she was quite cheeky. Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, now I have to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
For a different reason.
It was It was not
there
a good
match.
match.
There were some NSFW shots of her in that match.
This match was exactly what I thought it'd be, and it was pretty
yeah.
bad.
It's just like, what's worse is this is one of the first times that they've spent a decent amount of time building it up. Like, more than a week. More than like, oh, I don't like you. I'm going to fight you, Jade Cargill. And nobody knows how this match is going to end. No, it's like Nyla Rose spent time in this, in starting a story and completing an entire storyline arc. And they killed it in 8 fucking minutes. 8 minutes. But Nyla Rose can go for longer than 8 minutes. Maybe Jade Cargill can't, but I would be willing to bet that Nyla Rose could carry her a little bit farther than that. I'm done.
The only good part about this is they actually did something with Jade besides the normal, I'm the number one contender. You're just going to be another loser. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Then they lose. This was something different. So that's.
It seems like her faction is starting to fracture a little bit. You're starting to see the cracks.
Yeah.
Of course, I feel like I've said that a month and a half ago.
Strayed from the usual Jade formula.
Yeah.
She's got a look. She's talented. She can kind of cut a promo. But there's something that's not clicking there.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's the way they're
charisma
booking her.
for fucking days.
I think it's the way they're booking her. I think they've kind of booked themselves into a corner with her. So next match, bud.
That's the case with those winning streaks.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's the case with most of their women's division right now. They're not booking it great. They're doing better than they were a month ago, but
I think they've turned the corner on some of that.
Yeah.
So, what was next?
Jericho defeated Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara. By the way, the only reason I got his name right was because it's written down on the paper. Just want to point that out. This was an excellent match.
It was. I forgot about it. I'm going to be honest with you because it was just kind of lost in this whole card. The Guevara Jericho stuff was fun. Mm-hmm. That's what you talked about, is how Danielson and Claudio just went at it and didn't care.
Yeah,
because they just wanted to win, and then Guevara slowly. It was an interesting match. It was good. It wasn't bad. I thought the way Jericho won was perfect. He's fighting Claudio at the ROH.
At ROH, yeah.
And if he loses, he has to join the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Ruh-roh.
I want to know what they're going to do. I think he has to win because they're already doing that with Matt Hardy. It'd be the same thing they did with Matt Hardy.
Yeah. But they've doubled up on storylines before.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be completely out of the realm of possibility that they're going to do it again.
This match was fine. It was good.
It was a good match.
I forgot about it.
Guevara stole the show, as I recall you saying, and that's true. He really shone in this match.
He belongs at the top, and he's a guy that he's going to be. Leon's gone again. He's going to be.
Checking on something.
What are you checking on?
Don't worry about it.
The wiener picture you sent? No. Keep that.
It's porn. It's fine.
Keep that in.
Rude.
Rude. He is going to be a top guy. He's just got to get. He needs a little more seasoning.
Yeah, he does. I have my reservations about Sammy Guevara. I think you're right. I think he's a great talent. I think a lot of the heat that he gets is a little too adjacent to X-Pac heat for me. But I think he's learning. He's learned a lot from Chris Jericho, and I think he's getting there.
I don't think it's X-Pac heat as much as it's this guy's a dick and we don't want to see him heat. X-Pac heat was just, oh my God, go away, you suck. I think it's a little different.
I suppose.
He's an annoying person on television and in real life.
I think that's part of my reservation, is that a lot of his annoying traits that we see on Twitter and stuff are bleeding over into his character, which makes sense. But I don't know. You all right, Town?
Yeah, I was coughing.
Okay.
What was next?
Saraya versus Britt Baker, DMD. Saraya won this one.
I was happy for Saraya. I thought she did a good job for that wrestling for a while. Wasn't as crisp maybe as it could have been, but I didn't think it was bad.
Yeah,
I was happy for her, and it was a good moment because she her career got cut off so many times.
But I would be interested to know how much training she did beforehand. Because she did, I mean, it certainly wasn't her best match ever, but it was a good match. It was a solid match. Like she knew what she was doing. She didn't have too much ring rust.
Yeah, I liked it. What did you think of it, Leon?
I was just disappointed that that Britt kicked out of the Rampage or whatever they're going to call it now. That
I think
what is it?
I think they wrestle again, and I think Britt wins. I think this will be
this could easily have legs.
Yeah,
for a long-term feud type thing.
Slow burn.
They could go away from it for a while and come back in a single promo. Yeah, they could easily come back to this at any point they wanted to with those two. Because just give those two a couple minutes on the mic and they're right back where they were. They can easily heat it back up in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next match:
Samoa Joe versus Wardlow versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I did not see Joe winning this. I was shocked that he won. I did not think Wardlow was going to keep it.
Let me tell you what. They brought back the TNT challenge, the open challenge.
Oh, good.
With Joe, and that's going to be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what I told you the night of the pay-per-view. I said this was the right move because giving him the belt means he's going to be on TV wrestling every week, and that's perfect.
Hell yeah. Joe's great to watch.
And Wardlow just... How do you just couldn't keep doing what you were doing with him because they have to find a better way to use him, and I don't think him being TNT champion was the smartest of moves.
And you kind of just wind up at some point you're just going to wind up with a Jade Cargill where either he's beating people that like you're beating people who are just like local people who we've never seen before.
The irony,
or it's just like short-term.
The irony
things.
of Wardlow is Wardlow can cut a promo.
Yeah,
Wardlow's got a look, and Wardlow can fucking work.
Yeah,
like it blows my mind how well that guy can work because you first see him in that suit, and you're like, oh, there's just another big fucker that's not going to do anything, but the dude can work.
Yeah,
and it's just like, okay, cool, but we got to do something else with him because this is just not. It's not working. So I thought this was a good move.
Mm-hmm. It looks like they're doing good things with both of them, Wardlow and Powerhouse, which is nice. And Samoa Joe,
they have Joe just give him the belt and let him go. He's the king of TV. He's the TNT title and the TV title, so he's the king of TV. That's his gimmick now. So
I love it.
It's just amazing. Joe's fucking amazing.
I'm the king of television.
What was next? Budrick.
Sting and Darby.
Boo!
Defeated Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
Boo! This match sucked. Boo! Worst match of the night.
Yeah.
Boo!
Yeah.
Hated every moment of it.
Big old pile of dookie.
Not good.
I don't know. I didn't hate it.
I hated it. I told you.
Yeah, I know you hated it.
Hated
it. I did not want to see Jeff Jarrett, but I think Sting did his work. Like he did his job. Sting looked good in this match, as good as he could, and Darby and Jay Lethal go. Like they're good together. They're good as opponents. Like get rid of Jeff Jarrett. Like we don't need that. Just fucking get rid of him.
Yeah, him on my screen makes me hate it. Everything he has anything to do with. He wasn't on the show tonight. It was a great show. He literally comes on the screen and it's like, I don't want to watch the show anymore.
I watched the
I have lost all interest
on the Thanksgiving thing. Those guys showed up on the screen and I was like, oh, thank God Jeff Jarrett's not there. And they're like, don't. And then he shows up. I'm like, oh fuck.
It's just bad.
And then he's like, and then he doesn't even do his catchphrase right. Like I know what he was trying to be clever, but what the fuck is a slap max? What is that? How is that an insult to anybody? Oh, his name's Max, and you're gonna slap him? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I got an idea, pal. We should have Jarrett.
He's the last outlaw. He does what he wants.
Jarrett and Lethal should win the tag belts from the Acclaimed. That's what Jarrett's gonna say.
We'll
be great tag team champions. Then I could beat Max, and I could be 2 champions.
Jeff Jarrett is going to bring in a new talent. Just became a free agent a few months ago. His name is Mince Vicjan.
This match sucked. This match sucked because it was bad. It was just the feeling around it was bad. It had a dark cloud.
Anyway, the next match is Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm. I'm very happy that Jamie Hayter is the champion.
It had to happen. She deserves it. She's awesome. Her and Britt are breaking up. That's where they're going. But it was so.
But like,
great
we had talked about on this podcast that they were gonna keep Jamie Hayter away from the title, and that those two were gonna have a match at Full Gear. This is better because now they can build up to the next pay-per-view to have for the title Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter, or maybe the pay-per-view after that. Like, keep it on Hayter for a while. Why the hell not? Like, she's unique, she's talented, she's huge.
Got the crowd support. She could be a huge babyface star if they do it right. And I feel bad for Toni Storm because Toni Storm just kind of wasn't the right person at the right time, and everybody just kind of shit on her reign. I didn't think it was bad. Well, they weren't as excited about it as they should have been. And
yeah, I suppose that's true.
When they put her up against Hayter, it was like if she beats Hayter, that crowd's gonna take a poo on it.
They should give her the TBS title. Toni Storm is amazing. Like, she was a perfect
she doesn't
person
get enough
to put
credit.
the TNT title on.
She doesn't get enough credit.
Not the TNT title, the women's title.
TBS. The Big Bang Theory
title. That's who should be the TNT champion, or the TBS should be Ruby.
No, give her the TNT champion. Shit.
Yeah, fuck it. She can beat Samoa Joe.
Make every champion a woman except for the world championship, which will be MJF for the next 20 years.
But the All Atlantic champion could be Orange Jet Cassidy. Then he'll just put a wig on. I'm a girl.
He can lose it. He can lose it to the Invisible Man, and then he'll come back as
Orange Jet.
Yeah,
Orange Jet.
Orange Jet
Cassidy. Yeah, I like that. What was next, bud?
Are we gonna redo the Santina angle?
Why not? Why not?
No one will ever do that because it was stupid.
Not nearly as stupid as what they did with Harvey Winkleman. The Acclaimed defeated Swerve in Our Glory. Not their best match.
No,
it was a good match.
It was a solid match. It was more about the story they were telling.
Yeah.
And I'm curious where they're going with Swerve in Our Glory because I think something really bizarre is going to happen with them. But this match served its purpose. You know, Keith Lee stood his ground and did his thing, and then the Acclaim got to win. Their first match was the best.
Yes.
The second match, when the Acclaim won it, not as good. The third match, not as good as the second or the first. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll roughly agree with your ranking. I remember the second one being pretty damn good.
It wasn't as good as the first. The first was fire.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pay-per-view match, and everybody was on fire. It was so fucking good. And then they did it again, and it was good, but it wasn't quite as good and I think the ending got it with Billy Gunn getting involved.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me, Daddy Ass.
Daddy Ass.
Yeah. Billy Ass in the Ass Boys.
And the Ass Boys.
Where are the Ass Boys? I haven't seen them in a while.
They come back every once in a while to fuck with FTR.
Yeah.
I think I don't. I don't understand that because I do not see the Guns, I think they were known as now. I don't see them on the level of FTR. I just see them as a couple of annoying kids who are fucking with FTR. And like, I don't, they're not giving me a reason to want to see that other than to see FTR kill the Guns.
Can I tell you a story?
The Ass Boys. What?
Once upon a time.
Yeah.
In 1997,
mm-hmm.
there was this tag team called the Legion of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
And the Road Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the tag team champions.
Mm-hmm.
And they were badasses, and they were beating everybody up. And people were kind of getting tired of them, but they were badasses, and they were like the top team. And these two dumb fucks came along, and they were called the New Age Outlaws, and they looked like stupid idiots. And they wound up fucking with the Road Warriors, and then they beat them. And they turned out to be okay. Just saying.
They turned out to be okay. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that, but like, are you implying that Legion of Doom is on the same level as FTR? Like, I appreciate that at some point FTR is going to get old.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that sometimes that's an okay thing to do. Like,
I guess
Legion of Doom probably drew more money than FTR.
Yeah,
because Legion of Doom for a while was like, some people even dressed up as them for Halloween.
They still do. There's still people that dress like that.
Only an idiot would dress up as Legion of Doom for Halloween. Leon did it when he was in what grade were you in when you did that? Yeah, this tag team title match was okay. It was fun.
It was about the other story. Yeah.
I think that's important.
And I think I really like the way that AEW does their swerves, which is a weird thing to say, but like WWE does swerves so often that you become insensitive to them. So that when they do the expected thing, then it's a swerve.
That's one of the biggest problems that I have watching AEW sometimes is I expect WWE booking.
Yeah.
And now WWE isn't even booking that way, so it's Vince McMahon booking.
Yeah.
You expect the random bullshit to happen, and you're just sitting there like there's no way they're gonna I think back to when Adam Page fought Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the dude has to win the belt. There's no other way. And then I'm sitting there like there's no way they're gonna do it. They're gonna fuck him over. Something's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bucks came out. I'm like, yeah, here it is. They're not gonna give him the fucking belt. And they did. It was like, oh, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah, Yeah.
So it's just
when there's like layers there, right? Like AEW when they do a swerve, they build it up. They don't just like build an entire story and then say, haha, just kidding. A spider came and bit him in the face for no reason. Like
Spider-Man.
They are able to put layers upon layers upon layers. Yeah. And then when the swerve happens, you're like, oh fuck, I didn't see that happening. Like the Regal thing. I did not, which we're getting to. I did not expect that at all. And then I was like, oh fuck, that kind of makes sense actually.
You just need to see how that one played out.
With how much they were building between
you guys
MJF
need to watch tonight's show, and then your mind's gonna be fucking blown. What was next? Was that the match that was next?
Yeah, that's the next match. Yeah, MJF defeating
had to happen. MJF
Jonathan Moxlington.
Yeah, it had to happen, and they already have a different feud for Moxley. So
he's staying. Like what? Taking a vacation, Moxley. I'm talking to you. Take a vacation for fuck's sake. Of course, Renee is in AEW now, so like, what's he gonna do?
I'm thinking that's what happened.
Whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's their ace, and he'll be champion again someday, I think. But,
he's the ace.
This was a good match. This was like I told you before. This had that Hogan Rock vibe because the crowd turned on the guy they were supposed to cheer. They were so pro MJF, and Moxley just fucking played into it, didn't give two shits. And that's the beauty of Moxley. Like, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he's such a good professional wrestler, is because sometimes you look at guys and they have to be the babyface or they have to be the heel. And Mox just responds to the situation.
Yeah.
Does not care.
Yeah. I think AEW has quite a few wrestlers like that. But they're still sort of rare.
Yeah.
Like WWE has not many at all. But like AEW has him. Danielson is like that.
Kevin Owens is like that. Sami
the Elite is like that.
Yeah.
Like they respond to the situation.
Some of those guys that have a little bit more of experience outside of WWE, I think are like that.
Well, because I like the indies demand that to some extent, right? Like if you're going to go into a match and the crowd isn't responding the way you expect it to.
You know what Braun Strowman said. If you work in the indies, you're worthless. Nobody cares if you can do a kickflip. When you're this big, you can do whatever you want. Go bag groceries or whatever. I can't remember if Braun Strowman said that or Leon said that. It was one of them.
I feel like we're gonna have a fight right now.
Just like to give Leon. I like to poke him a little bit. He does like big guys.
Leon's gonna throw a chair at you, Town.
I remember when we played fucking Extreme Wrestling Warfare. which is like what TEW is now. And if you don't know what TEW is, go to the Grey Dog software. It's a fucking amazing game. And we were all like, there was a period of time where we were all playing that. I think all of us were.
Mm-hmm.
Even fucking Rainville was playing it, and he couldn't book his way out of a paper bag. I said that, and I stand by that. Keep that one in. But like, I remember like we all had our company. We were all doing this shit, and then there's fucking Leon, who's got like, he brought like Andre the Giant back from the dead, and he had like every big human. He had every big human in his company. Like there was a weight limit to be in his company, and it was the funniest fucking thing ever. Do you remember that, Leon? Because I totally fucking remember that, because we were all like doing. It was fun because we were all kind of booking shit a different way, and there was Leon just. I have big guys fighting each other, slapping each other in the boob.
As I recall, the way I played EWR back then, yeah. The way I played EWR was to grab guys who had good stats, but I'd never heard of.
Yep.
That was pretty much it.
Do you know who one of them was?
A
19-year-old guy named Kevin Steen.
I don't remember having Kevin Steen.
Kevin Steen was on that game, and he was only 19 at the time. He was on that game. Yeah, I remember that. There was like what?
I remember you having Punk when he was still
me?
ROH.
Yeah, I had Punk. Yeah.
I had Rocky Romero at one point. It's the only one I remember right now. But like,
have you fired up TEW yet?
Not yet. No. Oh, that's not true. I started, and I'm lost.
Yeah. You at some point you should let me teach you how to play that game.
I think maybe I'll do that. Hit up a tutorial.
Town could be a tutorial. I can walk you through it if I share my screen. We can look at it and go over it. That game's awesome. That game has so many options. The one thing that I keep wanting to do on there is there's a company in Australia that they have, because it's all fictional. It's basically Chikara. It's got the guys in masks. Like
yeah.
It's a lucha libre thing. It's like this is Zen, the art of wrestling or something. I always want to play as that company because it just looks so fucking ridiculous. And then there's like USPW, who is apparently now is a TEW podcast. There's USPW, United States Pro Wrestling, which is like the 80s Hulk Hogan style thing, where you got all the big guys and like the fucking baby faces and the heels and nothing fun.
Big meaty men slapping meat.
You have all the little guys there like to work that don't do anything because they're too small. Yeah. And I remember when they had a guy named Sam Strong in that game who was like Hulk Hogan of the game, literally. He was like the biggest star in the whole world and whatever. He was based off of Hulk Hogan, and he owned that company. And if you played as the booker under him, one of the rules he had was no one above or below the weight of heavyweight can be higher than a mid-carder. It's like working for fucking Leon.
That sounds like Hulk.
Yeah, it does.
Good old Hulk.
I can't lose to him. He's too small. I'm glad Yokozuna never did that. He'd still be champion. Or like Andre. Under that logic, Andre never should have put Hogan over. But Andre understood the business.
Me boss.
He's also a nice guy. He didn't really have that much of an ego.
Andre?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he was old and tired, and he worked with fucking children. Oh wait, no, that was
that's somebody else.
Easily confuse those two.
They look exactly the same. I understand.
CM Punk or Andre the Giant? I can't tell the difference.
I'm your janitor. You called me over here to work on your plumbing. I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Okay, Andre Punk, can you do that for me?
Andre Punk.
That's great. No, do you have anything else we got to talk about, bud?
No, I just had the card. That was it.
Okay, we covered it. I mean,
we did.
Good show. It was a good show.
Yeah.
TEW is a great game. Total Extreme Wrestling 2020.
Go play it.
Grey Dog software. Oh my god, it's so much fun.
I mean, we really should say it's not Fight Forever, right? Like it's not WWE SmackDown.
Well, it's a text-based game where you kind of book your own stuff.
Very nerdy, but also very fun if you're into that.
It is because you can kind of get lost in your own your own promotion. You find your guys that you like to push, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, cool, I got a company. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to build if you like to book. Don't do what Leon does though. Don't bring big guys back from the dead.
I'm bringing back all
the
the
guy.
big guys.
The guy on there that Leon would bring back would be Bruce the Giant.
Maybe I want to be a necromancer.
The Living Dead wrestling. Big meaty men Living Dead wrestling.
Just as long
company.
as your first pay-per-view's main event is a resurrected Ultimate Warrior versus a resurrected Andre the Giant, I don't care. I want to relive those matches from 1988.
But I want their limbs to fall off as they're wrestling.
The Zombie Warrior and Andre.
Eyes are falling out.
Have you ever
rotting away?
You like you go back and you watch like WrestleMania 5 or WrestleMania 6 or WrestleMania 7, which was kind of like the height, like the point where it was like the guard was changing a little bit from like the old school to the new school. Like you watch those shows, everybody's fucking dead.
Well, yeah.
From those, like everybody is dead, and those guys are not that old,
except for Hogan.
I mean, they're like 50, 60.
They're like, but the wrestling business back then was brutal. Like, do you remember? There was just like a string of time when it was just like every other week there was a wrestler dead from drugs or steroids
early mid 2000s.
Yeah,
suicide.
Yeah,
like
that
constantly.
That went pretty rampant until the Benoit thing happened, and then
even after that, though, really,
yeah,
it didn't really start getting better until
2010.
2010, yeah, when they really started pushing, like WWE started pushing their wellness program.
What is insane is if you go back to like the Monday Night Wars, like the peak of it, like 97, 98, 99.
Mm-hmm.
Is like active wrestlers died a lot.
Yeah.
There was a lot of active wrestlers that died, like, or guys that were like recently released, like the Renegade killed himself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like all these people died, and it was just kind of like, oh, whatever, we're just gonna sweep this under the rug. Yeah, he was upset. He had a thing going on, it had nothing to do with us. And it's like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
He died and he died and he died and he died.
But you have this
Louis Spicoli died, like this guy died, that guy died.
You have this gigantic two companies, let's say,
demons,
that just they run their talent into the ground, and then they fire them unless they're really, really profitable. They're out the door within a couple years, 3 years, 4 years, right? Like, how do you recover from that? How can you?
A lot of times too, like the guy that played the Renegade, Rick Wilson, like. Once you put that makeup on and you're a fake Ultimate Warrior, what can you do with your career?
Yeah.
Like he couldn't have gone to WWF. He couldn't have gone on the indies. Like his career's done.
Yeah.
Totally done. He sucked. I mean, he was not a good wrestler. He was a bodybuilder that they saw. He looks like the Warrior. Let's just put face paint on him and let him go.
Mm-hmm.
And his matches were somehow worse. Which is just
that is mind-boggling, actually.
Yeah,
I do wonder if there's some. Wow, this podcast has gone all over the place. I do wonder if there's some correlation between the rise of the indies and the reduction in that sort of thing. Like the more that guys could make a living on the indies, the more that guys started making a living on the indies, and people knew how to do it.
I think that's one of those examples of what starts at the top goes downhill. Because if I'm working the indies, my main goal is to get where? To WWE.
Big Show.
Okay. And if they have a wellness policy and I can't look like a jacked up freak and I have to pass a drug test, I'm going to be way less likely to take all these drugs. Especially in that younger crowd. So those older guys that have been there and are gone, like those guys still might have an issue from the past, but these younger guys are kind of seeing it and they're looking at it from a different way. Plus, I think when we were coming up as kids and we were like 18, 19, you didn't know that much about the behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. We knew more than the people before us. But like in the 80s, if you were coming up, you want to be a wrestler, you didn't know shit.
Yeah.
Because it was so kept under wraps. Now it's like you can go and you can find out anything about anybody, and everybody knows about the drugs and this and the road life and all that. And I think they're just doing a better job of making it better. But that's not just wrestling. That's the NFL too. Like with the concussions, like they're doing more about it, like the stuff that we didn't know, and we're just kind of like, whatever, you're fine. You got hit in the head, you got a little headache, you're fine, go play.
Just a concussion.
Whereas opposed to now, you get a concussion, and it's like, okay, we're gonna sit you today. You can't do anything. You can't run. You can't do stretches. You literally can't do anything. And we're gonna give you, we're gonna let you rest for 3 days, and we're gonna bring you in and see where you're at. You could have a concussion that keeps you out of a sport for 4 to 5 weeks. And it's like a minor one, but you have to hit these certain, like, barriers to get back. And I think that's kind of the nature of the world. We were so keen on the 80s and the 90s being like warriors and being tough and doing this shit at the expense of our bodies. I mean, that's truly
tough it out.
Like Mick Foley. Like, there's never going to be another Mick Foley because they're not going to let anybody do that. Because it's at the end of the day, it's dumb. Like it's not smart. Like you're not gonna live long doing that. I hope he does because he's an amazing human being. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you look at these guys. For example, we grew up in Wisconsin, so we all watched Brett Favre. That fucker's got all sorts of memory issues.
Yeah.
Because he got how many concussions did that guy have playing for the Packers? Couldn't even count them. But he was just a tough old hillbilly. He never came out. And you look at shit like that, and now it's just some of those things that we saw. Like, nobody's going to break his starts record because you can't. Because if you get a concussion, you're not going to start. You're not going to play. It's just the way it works. Or a guy like Mick Foley, we're not going to throw people off a cage anymore in that setting, because when he got thrown off that cage.
No, and they're doing that. They're going to do it like they did with Shane. They're going to have a crash pad underneath it.
It's going to be more of a.
You can kind of make fun of it, but I mean, it's a
stunt bump. It's not a crazy bump, because those crazy bumps
you get care of people.
And stunt bumps themselves are dangerous. Like when Jericho broke his fucking arm doing that one.
Yeah,
even though everybody thought it looked like shit, but still, it's like they're risky. You got to hit it just right. Yeah, no, it's interesting, but I think that's what it is. I think that's just kind of society right now, is we're doing a much better job of keeping people safe. Like, we're looking at things that we didn't look at before.
I remember who that was recently. Wasn't there somebody in the last year or so who legit like got concussed or whatever in a match, and they cut it short? I can't think of the example right now, but I mean,
I think you're thinking of Paige.
Hangman Page.
That's it. Yeah, and they cut it. They cut the match. They didn't even show any more of it with him and anything. The way they handled that was so fucking good.
Yeah. Then you look at
I loved the way that they did that.
You look at fucking Hell in a Cell.
Like he wants to go back out there and keep fighting, and they're like, dude, no. They shut that down. I loved the fact that they did that way. Like, so you want to do, old school, tough it out, show must go on. But fuck that. Take care of your goddamn head.
The thing that I thought of that because of the match, like I remembered Owen Hart versus Stone Cold, and they still did the pinfall. And they got the medical out there to get him, with the collar and everything, but
he had a broken fucking neck.
But he had a broken fucking neck, and they just at that point just cut the match. I agree with you, Leon. I think that the way that AEW handled it is way better because A, it's transparent, and B, they're showing us that they care about their wrestlers. That they're not gonna they're not gonna be like
their health is worth more than one single match or one show or one program.
I think if you look at the Attitude Era with all the competition with WCW, like if you listen to Steve Austin talk about that, he's like, I have to win this match because I have to win this belt because I'm on a trajectory and I don't want to get off of it.
Yeah.
As opposed to now, they would never let that happen. They'd be like, dude, don't fucking worry about it. Just,
Yeah.
But I do think
different mindset.
The wellness policy was a great step. And then actually enforcing it was a better step, and then making it even more a stronger one to cover more stuff. I think that's what did it. I think that just flowed down because whatever's going on
there was somebody who they discovered they discovered a heart condition for it, and they ended up getting it fixed for him. I can't remember. Name is escaping me right now, but yeah, like it's had unintended good consequences too, which is fucking fantastic, man.
Right. I think it has to be, and they've done this. It has to be like not just punitive. You can't just be like, well, you did drugs, so you're suspended. It has to be like, we're going to get you in programs. We're going to get, and AEW seems to be doing something similar. Like John Moxley walked up to Tony Khan and said, I can't be here anymore. I need to go. I need to check into a thing. And they're like, yeah, take as much time as you need.
Well, they paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is good. I think that's just kind of the whole nature. I think Vince did a lot of that begrudgingly, and he was very much stuck in that 1980s mindset of, I'm riding you till you're done, and then you just get the fuck out of here, you deal with it yourself. And then he started to take care of those guys. I think Khan has a much different. I think Triple H does too. I think Triple H has a much more. I want you to be so safe. I want you to be healthy.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Vince McMahon is 77-year-old man who really had his heyday between like 1984 and 2001. That was when he was.
And his heyday was drive your wrestlers in the ground. Like push them as hard as you can until you can't push them anymore. And so he thought that was the way that you had to do business. But then you have Triple H, who was in the business and who's spent his entire life wrestling. And he's looking at guys like Johnny Gargano, for example, or Tommaso Ciampa, and he's like, these guys are amazing. Let's fucking preserve them. Don't push them until they're nearly dead. Because that's how you wind up with guys who have drug addiction, or just have like rocked up bodies like Mick Foley. There's zero upside to the athlete that you run into the ground. I mean, I think CM Punk is a great example of that. Or Mick Foley. Like Mick Foley is also a great example of that. He sings praises to WWE, but that's the company that really wrecked his body. And a lot of that's on him. Like he could have said no, or he could have taken different bumps or whatever. But the mentality in the WWE at the time was everything at the expense of your body. The show at the expense of your body, at the expense of your sanity, at the expense of everything that you have going on at home.
Yeah, and that in minor defense of wherever he worked, between his autobiographies and his podcasts, almost every single one of his big, stupid, crazy bumps were all his idea.
Yeah.
It was all his kind of thing. But on the other side of it, there should have been somebody there to say, dude, no, come on. There's another way to do this. There's a different way to do this where you don't have to fucking almost die. Like, what was it? He talked about, I can't remember the territory. I want to say Memphis. He talked about how
the Nestea plunge.
Yeah.
Where he
how Fuller had to tell him, like, dude, there's 30 people in the fucking crowd. You don't need to be doing this every fucking night for this on the loop.
Oh,
and
right.
He still wanted to be doing it. Yeah, Fuller had to talk him out of that shit. It's fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just straight flat backing from the apron every fuck night. Like, that's insane, dude. Right down on the concrete and shit. It wrecks the shit out of your back. Can fucking concuss you in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But that was the mindset. Like,
mm-hmm.
I'm not. I am not. I am not implying that Vince McMahon is to blame or whoever.
Anything about the brain and everything like that? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm with you there.
It's the mindset of the territories, though, too.
Yeah.
You work
of anybody. Yeah, you're booked. You go out there. You do your thing, and that's his whole thing. Is he always wanted to? His thing was the crazy bumps, and I enjoy pain and all that sort of thing. So he always felt like he had to do himself.
Have you ever looked into the career of Gorgeous George? Not the Macho Man's manager, the real one.
No, I know what you're talking about, but no, I haven't read much about him.
So he was
just like a little bit.
He was the first guy to be like flamboyant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and he was an amazing wrestler who like lived a fucking lifestyle. and he worked constantly, and he was beat up, and he drank to deal with the pain. And his liver started failing, and he has this massive fucking heart attack. And he can't get cleared to wrestle, so he had to drop his belt. So he went out and had this weird 2-minute match with a guy where he didn't do anything and got pinned, and then he died like a month later. Like he's really like one of those first guys where it was like he ran himself into the ground doing this business. But it's almost like this weird combination of being a rock star, but also being a boxer who boxes every night. Because if you think about it, like Mike Tyson, how often did he fight? You'd have, or like a UFC guy, like how often do you fight? You fight maybe 3 times a year, 4 times a year if you're super busy, and you get beat up. But like these guys get beat up. Maximum, You know, we're gonna wrestle Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'm gonna take Tuesday and Wednesday off, and then I gotta go back, and I'm gonna get beat up. I'm gonna get concussed, and at the same time, I'm out partying, I'm out drinking, I'm out doing all this shit because I'm trying to numb my pain. So
yeah,
that's the thing. It's the whole thing that Roberts has talked about so many different times. Like you beat all the fuck up, so you're taking booze and pills at the end of the night, so you could, you can not feel that pain and go to sleep, and then you're getting into uppers or coke or whatever else.
To wake
so
up
you can
in the
get
morning.
up, you can go, you can go hit the gym, hit the road, get to the show, do your match, and then you start all over again. You're dealing with the pain afterwards, so you're popping some pills, downing drinks, all that fun shit. It's just a cycle. And those guys, especially those 80s WWF guys, they were working fucking 330 nights a year. It was fucking insane.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't do that anymore because it was insane.
Yeah,
I really am. As much as I love, like all of us love professional wrestling, obviously, we're sitting here doing a fucking podcast about it. Like, we enjoy this shit, but we also understand that there are human beings there, and we don't want them fucking dying early or living in abject misery for our entertainment.
All the guys that we liked as kids that we looked up to are dead. They're all fucking dead, and that shouldn't be the case. Because if you look at if I look at the people I like musically that I liked when I was a kid, and rock stars are the same way. They have a lot of the same shit because of the way they live.
Oh yeah, they live really fucking hard.
But they're alive. Most of them are alive. And you look at the wrestlers, and you can you watch an old show of Superstars. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. It's from 1993. It's like, okay, 80% of the people on the show are dead. And it's just like, holy fuck. But
it was a sad business for a very, very long time.
I hope it gets better. I hope it keeps on this trajectory.
Yeah.
That's a concern that I have often about GCW. And that was one of the flaws of ECW because those guys were so fucked up and so drugged
and
up.
all the garbage wrestling stuff, the fucking hardcore guys, deathmatch guys.
You have but I get it. I get why they do it because, like you said, we're numbing the pain. But I look at ECW, Axel Rotten's dead, Balls Mahoney's dead. All those guys are dead, and they all overdosed on shit, or they had something like that happen. They didn't make it very long. I don't think Mahoney even made 50. It's in his early 40s. Ian Rotten was in his early 40s. Axel, I think Axel's dead too. Both the Rottens are dead.
Pretty sure.
I mean, fucking Public Enemy. They died super fucking young. All those guys died.
Yeah.
And it's just you sit there, you're just like, holy shit. But that style of wrestling, that's what I worry about with GCW.
That they're gonna wreck their bodies and then start relying on stuff.
Yeah.
My hope is that GCW is handling that a little bit better, but I also look at their top guy right now, or maybe who they think is their top guy, Nick Gage, and you look at old pictures of that guy, and he has not aged well. He
has CTE. He has hardcore CTE. When you listen to him talk, you can tell he has CTE. And he has to struggle with his memory and everything. And he's one of those, he'll die in the ring. That's who he is. And he'll be totally happy to do it. And there is a guy right there who has charisma. He's not a fantastic worker, but he can work well enough Like he's a guy that could come in like to an AEW and have a spot doing stuff, but he never will because he's that I'm GCW. That's the style I am. Okay, but how long is that guy gonna live?
Yeah, he's a deathmatch guy.
Yeah, he is. But
like he's never gonna go anywhere where they're just gonna work a wrestling match. His thing is all the fucking barbed wire and light
was a deathmatch
tubes
guy too. He turned out to be all right. So he's not like Mick Foley. That's not what I'm saying. He's not the worker Mick Foley was, but
Mick Foley started as a professional wrestler though. Nick started doing that shit. Like garbage wrestling has been his whole career. All the hardcore deathmatch stuff. Which I mean, obviously there's a market for it, but good God, the shit those people put themselves through.
GCW is a good throwback, and like I said, we watched that one show and I enjoyed it. I enjoy watching their shows, but sometimes the shit goes a little far, and you're just kind of like,
it's just a little too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that deathmatch wrestlers still hold that. I'm generalizing, and I don't know a lot about deathmatch wrestling, but I think a lot of those guys have a similar mindset to like the 90s wrestlers, where it was like, I don't know if it's necessarily that so much as it's about the spot. Like they want to get their spots in, and they want to do the thing that's going to look cool. And sometimes at the detriment to their body.
Yep.
Which is tough. Like that's a really tough thing to do. They really can't. They can't keep that up. I don't know how they stay safe.
They don't. That's the thing. They end up just running themselves into the ground.
Wow, this is a happy one. It is.
Sure is.
It is 10:40 though. We should probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Such a high note.
So, if you're just tuning in at the end, too long, didn't want to watch this. Full Gear happened. All our favorite wrestlers are dead, and probably all the wrestlers are going to be horribly dismembered by the time we get to be like 50.
Also play TEW. Great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. So they do not. They don't sponsor us. We don't have any association with TEW. TEW is just a really cool game.
If they want to sponsor us, though, we're down.
Call us.
We will chill.
Bud's phone number is 7. Give him a call.
It's actually not that far off. I don't know. I have been Budhausen. I actually haven't been Budhausen. This is the second time I've been Budhausen. Most of the time I've been just Bud, but I am Budhausen now, and this is Leon. That's Town Orange, and we will see you in the afterlife.
Christ.